and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today is February 28th. So it is time to pick out my books for March. So first let's go over the books that were on my TBR for February and whether I did or did not read them. So the first one I had was A Time of Dread by John Gwynne. This is the first book in the Of Blood and Bone trilogy, his spin-off to The Faithful and the Fallen, and I did finish this one. The next one that I had was my most recent purchase. This is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, and I finished this. The next one that I have is Woman 99 by Greer McAllister. This one I had for a thriller / number in the title, and I did finish this one. The next two I DNF'd, and they are going to count because I did make it over 100 pages into them. So the first one being The Boy with the Bookstore by Sarah Eshavar Smith was for by Sarah for the prompt. This one I got up to, I think it was 106 pages in this one, and I just didn't like it. I didn't enjoy the writing style. I wasn't having a good time, and so I did DNF this one, but like I said, I made it over 100 pages into this one. I also had Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bastarrica for Intimidating. I made it to about 116 pages in this, and I was so bored with this book that I didn't want to keep reading it. I was bored at like 50 pages, but I pushed through and I just didn't get into this one. So I did DNF this one. And the last book that I had to read for February was Babel, and this is by R.F. Kuang, and Babel is for 500 plus pages. This one is the only one that I have not picked up or attempted to try and start. I haven't read any of this one yet, so this one will be going back on my shelf for the time being, and I will have an extra throw because of this. So I made it to 100 pages or more in the other two that I DNF'd, but since I didn't even start this one, I will have an extra throw for March, which makes it 7 books. So for my first throw, I did get lowest rated on Goodreads. So I checked this the other day when I was kind of getting things together, but I will go back and double check, make sure that it's still correct. Everything should be updated in here. Okay, so we will go to average rating. The lowest rated is Sanctuary of the Shadow, and it has a 2.97 average. This is one that I just picked up from Barnes & Noble this last month or so, and I was really excited to read it. It caught my eye, and it's just a beautiful copy. It has the yellow edges with the little suns on them, the beautiful yellow end pages, and the gold foiling. This is a debut fantasy. It says, for humans, the circus is a place filled with wonder and amazement. For Harrow, though, it is a place to hide from those who slaughtered her entire clan. Disguising her abilities as part of her act has kept her true identity safe for years, until he arrives. A strange new attraction with no name, no memory of who or even what he is, let alone an explanation for his odd yet deadly powers. But beneath the layers of anger and isolation, one glimpse into his inky eyes reveals a soul that calls out to the loneliness in her own, and so she chooses him. Harrow is drawn to the darkness, to her insatiable need to soothe the beast who threatens their very existence, but with every secret she unlocks from his past, another from hers whispers free as well, luring enemies who will stop at nothing to get their final revenge on Harrow, and she's afraid she's given them the perfect weapon against her, because he's not what he seems. But maybe it's time they finally learn. Neither is she. So this one is a circus setting, and I am always drawn to circus settings. This one just came out not too long ago. Yeah, so this one just came out on January 9th, so it hasn't been out for very long, but like I said, it is my lowest rated at the moment. It is under 3 stars. So this will be my first choice for the month of March. The Sanctuary of the Shadow, and this is by Aurora Asher. For my next throw, I got Gifted, and I'm kind of cheating a little bit because technically this wasn't gifted. This is my mom's book, but she finished it and she gave it to me and said that I needed to read it, and she thought that I would really enjoy it. And that is The Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrels. This is by India Holtland. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it says that she is a Victorian lady who is also a thief. So my mom had a ton of fun with this one. She was cracking up, and so she gave it to me to read. I don't really know a whole lot about it, so I'm kind of going in blind, but I think it's going to be kind of a romance, possibly slight fantasy, but I'm not sure. And she already has a whole bunch of tabs in here. So it'll be kind of fun to read that one for this month, and that way I can get it back to her as well. That I got is a book with chapter titles, and one of the books that I have from the library right now just happens to have those chapter titles, and that is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This one is about a modern Black woman who somehow finds herself transported through time back into the 1800s when there is still slavery. I don't know a ton other than that fact. It's just that she's having to go back and navigate things from that time as a Black woman. And so I'm really curious to try this one out. And it does have chapter titles. So that will be the one that I've chosen for that. That I got is a library book. Another one that I have from the library is Here and Now and Then, and this is by Mike Chen. This one is about a man that something happens with his daughter, that she gets taken, I believe, and he has to either cross time or he's from the future and has to save her. So it's kind of another time jumping one, and he's having to try and save his daughter. I'm really curious to try it, and there is the time travel element. This is a sci-fi book, and I think it's going to be really interesting seeing how just the time element plays into these different books, and there are different ways to do it. So I'm really curious to try this one out for my library book. Book that I got is the next prompt that I got is a pet pick, and I do have some footage from a couple of days ago that my dog Athena, she chose between 3 books. That was Recursion by Blake Crouch, Timeline by Michael Crichton, and A Rip Through Time by Kelly Armstrong, and I will insert that footage. Okay, so I got a pet pick, and she's in there sleeping. But the 3 books, because of the vlog that I plan on doing this month, I have 3 books that I'm going to have her choose between. The first one being A Rip Through Time by Kelly Armstrong. This one goes back and forth between 2018 and 1869, that she is a witness to a murder, or she is murdered. I'm not really sure which. But then she finds herself awake in 1869, and she has to figure out what happened. And so I'm gonna have her choose between this one, Recursion by Blake Crouch, which I don't really remember much about that one, and last but not least, Timeline by Michael Crichton. This one, I don't even have any idea what this one is about. I don't remember. I picked this one up secondhand because we have a ton of Michael Crichton books, if you haven't noticed from my shelves. But I'm gonna try and finally read this one. So I'm gonna get the treats and lay them on the book. I'm gonna have her come in here and choose one. So we will get that on film. Okay, so here we are. Timeline. That was easy. Good girl. You went through, oh wait, no, she didn't take it. Here we go, so it's still there. Okay, so she ended up going for recursion. Is that good video? Yep, get the rest of your treats. Alright, so the one that Athena chose was Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is another Playing with Time one. Something about a pathogen hitting the city, and they're having to try and figure out everything with that. I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch the end of last year, and it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite, and so I have this one that I want to give it a try and see if I like this book. I liked his writing style, however that story just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. And so I'm going to try this one and see how I like it. The next prompt that I got was A to Z author surname, and I will put this up here that I screen recorded. So the letter that I got for this was S, and this one was a lot harder than I actually expected. I didn't have as many books with an author whose surname started with S than I thought. However, I do have one historical fiction that does fit. I have two books by this author, and this is the one that I ended up choosing, and that is The Soviet Sisters by Annika Scott. I have this one as well as The German Heiress that are written by her, and I have yet to read either of them. So this one, it's a heart-pounding story about two sisters and the betrayal that will tear them apart. It is set during World War II. Looks like it's going to be set in World War II Germany. So I don't really remember a whole lot about this one, but I love World War II historical fiction. They are so interesting to read and to learn little tidbits that honestly were never even touched on when I was in school. And so I love reading all these different historical fictions like this because I think they're super interesting to read about. So I will be reading The Soviet Sisters by Annika Scott. Prompt, my seventh prompt that I got, it landed right in the middle for a Marma pick and a name in the title. And so I took a picture of pretty much all, I had I think 8 books that had names in the title, and I sent them to my mom, and when she responded, she asked for a few of the synopses from the books, and then ended up giving me her number 1 choice as well as her number 2 choice. So her number 1 choice for me to read, I am super excited to say, is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. This one I got a little while back because it just sounded super interesting to me. This one is like a magical realism kind of thing. It says, a woman risks everything to end her family's centuries-old curse, solve her mother's disappearance, and find love in this mesmerizing novel from the best-selling author of Spells for Forgetting. I don't remember a ton about the plot of this, but I remember it being really intriguing to me when I first looked at it, and I'm so excited to try and read this one. So I'm not even mad about the extra throw at this point because I am so excited to pick up this book. and I really, really hope that I like it and that it could be one that I potentially pass on to my mom to read after me. So that is it. These are the 7 books that I will try and read in March. The first one is my lowest rated, at Sanctuary of the Shadows, and that is by Aurora Asher. The next one I have is the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton for Gifted. Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, that is for chapter titles. Here and Now and Then by Mike Chen, that is a library book. Recursion by Blake Crouch for my pet pick. And Soviet Sisters by Annika Scott for author surname starting with S, as well as The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young, and that is for the Marmy pick / name in the title. So these are the 7 books that I'm going to be trying to read in March, and I am really, really excited. This stack, it's a handful of books, but none of them are like huge chunkers either, so I think I can do it. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe down below. Hopefully next week I will have my full January and February wrap up available for you to watch. And I have read some really great books, and I have read some mediocre books. So January was not the best reading month for me. However, February has really kicked back and has been a lot of fun. So I'm very excited to see what March brings for me. Again, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I will have my Instagram, my Amazon wish list, all that stuff down below as well. And I will catch you in my wrap up and my next videos. Bye.